Jai Shri Mataji. Good morning, everyone. Let us all bow down to Shri Mataji, raise our Mother Kundalini and put Bandhan. Shri Ganesh Mantra.
Shri
In this meditative state, we will now hear Srimataji's speech.
I bow to all the seekers of truth. I've been many times in Birmingham before, and today I find there are so many people whom I know very well, and gradually we are all increasing in size, understanding our spirit. Now, the seeking of the spirit is not a new thing. It's a very ancient pursuit of human beings. They have been seeking the spirit. And many a times, many prophets, many great incarnations came on this earth to help the people in their pursuit. The seeking of the spirit is an inner urge, a very compelling urge within ourselves. But we don't know what we have to seek. We don't know what it means to be twice born. I come from India and suddenly I feel I belong to Britain. I become British and I feel the shock that we are all facing. Where are we going? The other day I saw some program about cocaine smuggling in England and I was shocked. All self-destructive things sometimes can be misunderstood as spirit seeking. One can misunderstand. But they lead us nowhere, is a fact. Then why do we do it? We do it, I know that, we do it only because we are seeking the spirit. It's very misleading. We seek the spirit in wrong things. This urge we think will be fulfilled by wrong things, by doing wrong to ourselves, by harming ourselves, by torturing ourselves. We get bored. Why? Why do we get bored of life? Life should be bubbling with joy. Because we think life is worth nothing, we have to seek. And what do we seek then? It's an amazing thing. How many seekers are born in the West? So many seekers. Even I talk to little children and I'm surprised that there is seeking within them. They are seeking something and they don't understand the mystery of seeking. They don't even understand what they are seeking. But they think there's something wrong, they feel frustrated, angered. And they feel that life has not given them what they wanted. They are bored, stiff. They don't know what to do. So they take to vandalism, some sort of a sensation. They try to destroy others or themselves. So the human mind today is at a different level, we must understand, especially in the West. Of course, East has its own problems, but it has traditional understanding about seeking and it understands what to seek. But in the West, such intense seekers are there and they don't know what to seek, what to achieve, what is spirit. It's a big problem. But today one has to realize that the category of people that are born in these modern times are very different from the people who were born about, say, I would say 50 years back. They had political ambitions, economic ambitions. They wanted to achieve political freedom, power. That generation is practically over now. They have realized that in this power game, they are not going to gain anything. It's a subject finished now for them. It's something absurd. They find the whole thing is a joke. Same with the economic problem, like there was once upon a time a gold rush. So everybody rushed to find the gold. Today, if anybody wants to do that, people will think, are you mad? Must be joking. So the category of people today are of a different level. We must be aware of that. We must understand that the category is very different, which perhaps media people don't understand so much. I don't think they have any idea as to what is the level of awareness of human beings today in the West. They are still of that old school which was busy fighting elections or strikes and this and that, all nonsensical things. But the people who are aware are many, many more than what we know of. That they are seeking something very different that their fathers and forefathers did not seek. Because the times are such. Today it's a special time. Special time where many people have to get their spirit. But then again we are misled. Because people who are trying to exploit this have found a good market. And they come down to find out how they can market their goods in this new awareness of people. We get enamored because we are still not fully conscious or knowledgeable about what to expect in your spiritual pursuit. And that's how they come and befool us. We have cults and we have sects. But one must understand that as you have grown through Aviva in your evolutionary process, gradually from that to this level, the awareness has to also grow the same way, in a traditional way. It cannot be somebody like Freud coming up and saying something new that we accept. Suddenly, how can we deviate from all those who talked of something very different from what Freud has been talking? Because it's a mind, which is of course very aware, but also it is what we call a very right-sided mind. As is described in the Gita, they are called as the people who are Rajasikas, the people who are in action. They live with the power of action. So the people who live with the power of their action live with their egos. An ego likes something new. Some sort of a new stuff comes in. They think, oh, why not do that? Try this, try that. It's like a horse which wants to go into every new direction and face. It's a very venturesome horse, I think. And that's how something new somebody says, everybody jumps to it. We are not new ourselves, we are ancient. And when we take to some new idea suddenly, we find after some time that we have to recoil back, because these are all mental projections. And that's how in every religion there have been sects formed. Because, say, Catholicism, Martin Luther, who was himself a realized soul, saw that Pope was doing all kinds of wrong things, so he started a new sect. But it's a mental projection still, I would say, though he was a realized soul. Then out of that came out, I don't know how many churches. So now we have an unification church, which turned out to be another horrible stuff. Then we have Unity Church, where they unite all these sects. It's all projections, all branches of that mental movement. But the essence is lost. In the first case it was lost, and it was completely forgotten in the last case. So that's how the sects were born. Now we find Pentecostals. The other day I was reading the harm it has done to people. We have all kinds of Seventh-day Adventists. What does it matter? What was the seventh day Sabbath? Supposing you have your Sabbath day, say on the seventh day, will you become righteous? Will you become virtuous? Will you become your spirit? By changing a particular type of ideology or thought, will you be transformed? Will you become great? Will you become a superhuman being? No. Then what? You think that by going from one sect to another sect, you'll achieve something great. You will just form different social orders, that's all. Then you have anti-culture. Another sect formed as a reaction. That also is another problem. All these venturesome ideas of this horse takes you from places to places, and you think, why whenever we try to do something, why we are committing the mistake? Because we have forgotten the fundamental. And the fundamental is very simple, that you have to seek your spirit. And when you seek your spirit, it is a spontaneous happening. It's a living process in your evolutionary process by which you become the spirit. By mental projection you cannot. Then the people who took advantage of the situation that there are so many seekers on this earth, they started all kinds of cults also. I've been talking against them since 1970. That don't go to these cults. These are another ego pampering stuffs. Suddenly they start a new idea, it appeals to you. Suddenly someone says that, no, by leading this kind of a life, you'll achieve what? You accept it. Why not find out? Since ages, people have been writing about the spiritual life. What does that mean? How to achieve it? Why do you take to anyone who just says that this is so, this is so? Because perhaps they have a nice circus, or a publicity. There must be something that is so attractive that people take to it. Or maybe it is some sort of an ego pampering that you want to join these cults and get destroyed. There cannot be a cult for your ascent. What cults did you follow to become human beings? The nature itself works it out. It is a spontaneous happening. But for a person who lives only with mental projections, morning till evening you see television or listen to radio, is nothing but mental projection all the time, you see, hovering on your head. You cannot think that there is something beyond that mental projection, which is the reality. So you find reality horrifying, absolutely horrifying. You have to pay the tax, you have to pay the rates, you have to pay this, you have to be like this, you have to be dressed up like this, you have to have clothes like this, all kinds of pressures on your head. So now what to do? How to get out of this? This is reality for people. So then we accept the drugs and the alcohols and things because we want to get out of it. That gives definitely a sensation, hallucination. But reality in itself is so beautiful, is so surmounting all this, that we have to honestly understand that if it is reality, it cannot be hallucination. It cannot. You cannot pay for it. You cannot follow somebody who says something against the tradition of evolution. It has to be fundamental. What it has been and will be, it has to be something that is integrating everything, integrating all the religions, integrating all the religious leaders, all the great prophets and all the great incarnations, otherwise it cannot be reality. Because reality has to be one. It should unite everything. It cannot create a separate identity on mental level. It may create on a spiritual level, maybe, that people who get realization, who have got self-realization, maybe the people form a more coordinated concord among themselves, but they are all the time worried about the other people who are not yet in there, not for money, not for lust, not for greed, but only because they want to share the joy of reality. This has to be first of all understood by all those who are seeking that reality cannot be a mental projection. Neither can it be an emotional projection which we can manage ourselves. One moment we are in love, another moment we are walking to the divorce cases. Why? If there was some truth in that kind of a love, why? It is something beyond, which is eternal, which doesn't change, which overflows, is promised. What about that? Why not seek that? Then you turn your eyes to find out where is it described. Vedas were written thousands of years back. And every Veda, whichever you read, the Upanishads as they are called, as the people where they are described about human beings, have taught that you have to worry about your spirit. It's the spirit that is important. Then you have other people. In India we have 14,000 years back some great poets. All of them have said the same. Then we have people In other countries like Abraham, like Moses, we have Confucius, Lao Tzu, we have Krishna, Rama. All of them have said one thing and one thing, that you seek your spirit. If so, then how? We should again look back. Is described. How to see? Is described in Gita, but much before that, it is described in the Vedas very clearly about the Kundalini and the seven chakras. Nobody says in any book that when the Kundalini awakens, you become mad or you start jumping like a frog. Recently I went to Pune, and there I was surprised that the Brahmins of Pune, who are supposed to be very learned people, were all suffering from high blood pressure, from kidney troubles, from insanity. I mean, name any disease they had. I said, why are they suffering like this? So there was one fellow called Gulwani Maharaj, who really came as the killer of all these Brahmins, I think, that they followed him. And their main person came to discuss with me about his religion, so-called. And he started asking me, do you know about Tarunopai, Arunopai? I said, what is that? I've never heard. Where is it described? Oh, you have never heard about it? I said, no. Do you know about Shaktipat? I said, I've never heard about this. From where does it come? Which book? Oh, it's from one book. I said, which book? About 60 years back, there was one Vishnutirth, Swami Vishnutirth, who wrote this book. I said, really? He's the only one, only 60 years back, this fellow comes up from somewhere, writes down something new, Arunopai, Tarunopai. All the Vedas, all the Shastras are all finished. Bible is finished, everything is finished. Only this fellow 60 years back comes up from somewhere and talks about Shaktipat, and you believe it. All of you, the Brahmins, the educated, the learned. I said, where do you see these words in the Vedas? Show me. Where do you see them? In the Patanjali Yoga Shastra. Show me. Is it written anywhere? He said, we haven't read them. I said, what did you read? This Vishnu Tirtha's book. I said, you are supposed to be learned people in Sanskrit. You read only this Vishnu Tirth who came only 6 years back? How can it be? And all of them are so sick, you won't believe. And in my presence, when they came, they were in a very bad shape, absolutely in a very bad shape, as if they had taken cocaine or something worse than that. Eyes were going up, their hands were moving like this, all kinds of things, and I told them, please forgive me, go to Vishnu Tirth or to his disciple, this Gulwani Maharaj. And the only thing they did was not to eat this, not to eat that, not to have relationship with your wife, become like a dry bean, live on a shoestring, and then you become godly, is it? It's very simple. In India, so many are like that already. Use your brains. They are very brainy people. I said, how could this man dominate you? So they came out with very intelligent answer that in the Vedas, you see, when we followed the Vedas, and what did we get? All right. I said, you didn't get anything. But there's something promised in the Vedas, in the ancient books, that in Kali Yuga, at these modern times, you will get your realization. Why didn't you go for that?
Mahamantras. We thank you, Shrimataji, for this beautiful collective morning meditation. Let us all bow down to Shri Mataji, raise our Mother Kundalini and put Bandhan. We'll join again tomorrow at the same time for the collective morning meditation. Jai Shri Mataji.